I am, again, reiterating my very vigorous support for Bill Sorrell for Attorney General. I think Bill really understands his job. He loves his job. He's been in it for a long time. He's very, very good at it. And the most important thing about his tenure as Attorney General is he understands that he represents all Vermonters and he represents the legislature. I think it's fine to talk about what policy you're going to do and what policy you're not going to do. The truth of the matter is that's not the Attorney General's job. The Attorney General's job is to defend the laws of the state of Vermont as passed by the legislature to protect Vermont consumers, which Bill has a spectacular success record doing, and to uphold the laws whether he likes them or not. I saw this morning, or a couple of days ago, there was the article about the drug companies getting a couple $1 million out of us for defending the suit. Well, I was governor. I advised the legislature myself that they were going too far. I advised the legislature myself that they went too far in campaign finance, even though, of course, I support vigorous prosecution of the drug companies' misdeeds and vigorous prosecution of campaign finance, public finance. There was a difference of opinion between me and the legislature. Bill was obliged to support the legislature, the verdict of the bill. I signed that bill because I thought we ought to have campaign finance reform, and I signed the drug bill because I thought we ought to go after the misdeeds of drug companies. So I think there are some in this race that don't understand what this job is about. It is not about to make pronouncements. It's not about backdoor criticism. It's about doing your job for all the people of the state of Vermont and defending the laws as passed by the legislature and signed by the governor. Bill has been around a long time. He has been Chittenden County State's attorney for 2 terms. He was my Secretary of Administration, which, as you know, is, I always like to call it the second toughest job in state government. I think when I was governor, it was probably the toughest job in state government. He is an extremely experienced public servant. He doesn't have his eye on any other office but this one, and it's my great pleasure to vigorously support him, and I'm going to do everything I possibly can to get him reelected because he deserves it and he's earned it for over 20 years of public service to the people of the state of Vermont. And I give you the next Attorney General of the state of Vermont, Bill Sorrell.
Thanks so much, Howard. I'm sure that Tom and Esther Sorrell and Peg Hartigan are smiling down right now. I'm very proud of my record as Attorney General. And if what Vermonters want is an Attorney General who's really aggressive in environmental protection, both in-state cases and cases of national importance, then I'm the guy. If Vermonters want an Attorney General who's very aggressive in the consumer protection arena, to sue companies big and small and bring hundreds of millions of dollars into state coffers, and to return millions of dollars into the pockets of Vermont consumers, and to help Vermonters, particularly our seniors, from falling prey to scam artists, then I'm that guy. And if Vermonters want an Attorney General who, when he sees need for more resources, goes aggressively and convincingly into the legislature, just as I did in this past session, and convinced the legislature to appropriate more than $100,000 of new money for enhanced consumer protection efforts in our office, and more than $200,000 for law enforcement in my office and in the Department of Public Safety to better fight online sharing of child pornography, and to make what have been in our antitrust laws just civil violations now subject to criminal penalties, then I'm that guy. We're less than 6 weeks out from the election. Early voting is available now. Governor Dean and I are going to be voting momentarily, and Bill Sorrell's going to have at least 2 votes as of today. So I look forward to these next 5+ weeks of getting all around Vermont, talking about my record and what I've done and what my priorities are going forward. And come August 29th, I fully expect to be the Democratic candidate for Attorney General and then be successful in the November election. Thank you very much.
Governor, what do you think of P.J. Donovan?
I think he's a nice guy. I do. But I think we already have a really good Attorney General. We don't need another one.
Governor Dean, many are saying that this is a race of old versus new Democrats. Is this you casting your vote for the old Democrats?
This is a race between ambition and experience, and I choose experience.
So no comment on if it's old versus new in this race?
I just want to vote for the right guy. This guy knows the job cold, and he's done everything we've asked him to, including some very tough things that would have been politically unpopular. I don't want a guy who's going to consider whether something's politically unpopular or not in the office of Attorney General. And Bill Sorrell calls him as he's seen him, and he's done that since he was state's attorney.
You said some people don't understand the job. I assume you were referring to TJ. If you were, what doesn't he understand?
I said what I said.
Well, then
I'm
who?
not going to embellish on it. What I'm going to say again.
You didn't refer to him then.
What I'm going to say is, you're never going to get me on this. I've done this nationally. I'm never going to put words in my mouth. So what I'll say again is that there are some in this race who are coming out with a lot of policy positions which have nothing to do with the job of Attorney General. The fact is, the job of the Attorney General is to stand up and defend the laws of the state of Vermont passed by the legislature and signed by the governor, whether the Attorney General likes those laws or not. And that's what Bill Sorrell's done.
Were those losses in court preventable?
No. You have to. The only way they were preventable is if he takes a dive. His job is not to take a dive.
Takes a dive.
Doesn't defend the law, or does a half-assed job. Bill put everything he had into those cases, and they were the right thing to do for the country and the state. I understand why the legislature did that. Why the legislature, including, to quote one of the sponsors of the campaign finance bill, wanted to push the envelope. My advice to them at the time was, if you do, you'll probably lose, because it's a very conservative Supreme Court. Once the bill gets signed by me and passed by the legislature, it's his job to defend the bill vigorously, and that's expensive. It's his job. He doesn't get to choose what he defends and what he doesn't. And his job is to defend, and that's why I made the comment about not understanding. If you think you can criticize people after the fact for what cases they took, it's not the right thing to do, any more than he should take a dive on Vermont Yankee. This is a tough job, Attorney General. It's not a political job. If you start making political decisions to please people, then you're not doing your job, and that's why I like Bill.
Governor, you've endorsed Bill Sorrell a couple times this election already, and you've set out a mailing with your name on it supporting him. Is there anything else you're going to do to support him?
I don't know. I mean, if I'm asked, I will.
Governor Dean, you said that you would have talked T.J. Donovan out of running if he had asked you. But do you see this primary race as a bad thing for the Democratic Party of Vermont?
Look, I think anybody has a right to run for office, and I'm not going to criticize anybody for running for office. I just think we have a really great Attorney General who's been here a long time and knows the job, and I prefer that he stay.
So the primary race is, in your view, unnecessary?
I just going to repeat what I said. I think that we have a really good Attorney General, and I hope that he stays.